Hello Galactic family. Dear ones, with love and understanding we seek to assist you in your journey out of the miasma of dense illusion and into reality. Life has become a time of tremendous struggle and confusion in a world accustomed to living according to the rules and beliefs of third-dimensional consciousness. You have been taught incorrectly through lifetimes and thus still carry cellular memory from many experiences serving to validate duality and separation. Life lived within the third-dimensional belief system was necessary in order to awaken out of it, much as a small child falls many times before learning to walk. These experiences have now served their purpose. You have learned to walk and are now ready to run. The divine self of every individual continually seeks to be recognized and known. This is why so many continually seek their good in the outer, because they do not yet know that everything they seek is already present within. Evolution is the journey out of illusion and into a living, breathing consciousness of reality. Once this state of consciousness has been attained, the burdens and struggles within the illusion as well as all the seeking and yearning, ceases. In order to understand that the attainment of material concepts of good, power, objects, money, beauty, etc. do not and never can bring about real fulfillment, individuals must first experience the seeking, then attaining, and finally the disappointment that comes with the realization that their life may now be more comfortable by human standards, but the yearning is still there, and will remain until found where it is, within. Earth School is a difficult but powerful evolutionary path, and it was the free will choice of every person residing on Earth to be here at this time, whether or not they are aware of it. Life is meant to be enjoyed. The belief that suffering and pain make you more spiritual is false. Pain and suffering, self-inflicted or otherwise, are not a part of divine nature and therefore not a part of your true nature. The concept that pain and suffering makes you spiritual are facets of the duality and separation belief system. These teachings represent the belief that the spiritual is separate from the physical and therefore the physical must be dominated or eliminated in some way in order for a person to become holy. You are already holy. Everything physical is simply a material concept of the spiritual. A spiritually evolved individual is still able to enjoy the finer things of life in the world, but not of it. If you enjoy fine china, fine art, nice clothes, and a beautiful home, there is nothing wrong or unspiritual about having them. Free will allows personal choice. But when material concepts of good become needs and necessities instead of choices, an individual is an old energy. You have reached the place of choosing exactly what it is you want. Do you really want to evolve into truth, or do you want to continue playing the games of illusion based in beliefs of duality and separation while pretending to be a truth student? An attained consciousness of truth does not happen simply by being interested in truth, going to workshops, or reading metaphysical books. These things represent the beginning stages of the spiritual journey. But there comes a point at which truth learned must come alive through intuition listened to, recognizing the divine nature of all, and seeking within instead of without. The higher resonance of an evolved state of consciousness automatically and without personal struggle, will clear and override lower resonating energies still carried by a person. This is why so many serious truth students are finding themselves in difficult physical, emotional, and mental situations right now, causing them to question and believe that somehow they have failed. No, dear ones, when these things happen, it means that have attained the understanding and readiness necessary to clear and release whatever beliefs the issue represents. It is a graduation. One's belief system can be easily identified by observing automatic responses and thoughts. The secret to moving beyond concepts that have become habits, is to first recognize them but never claim them to be personally yours, because they are impersonal universal beliefs that you have at some point accepted as truth. When you find yourself slipping into unloving responses, do not resist and condemn yourself, but simply recognize them as old programming and replace them with truth. It is the intent and goal of every soul to evolve and experience who and what they are, although most do not remember this once they are on Earth living in third-dimensional energy. They call evolution a journey because that is exactly what it is. In the earlier stages of awakening, it is a process of stepping and falling often by way of experiences that are unpleasant or even downright awful to human thinking. The intention to know God reality truth only takes place after many lifetimes and many experiences lived in third-dimensional consciousness, which then serves to bring a person into their readiness for more. Is this all there is? It must be understood that once an intention to awaken has been made consciously or unconsciously, life experiences become no longer random, but instead are drawn by one's higher self for purposes of learning and awakening. Doors previously closed to the third-dimensional consciousness now begin to open, making available guidance and help from the higher dimensions. At a certain point, the experiences necessary to awakening become less intense and difficult because the seeker is now open to higher ways of understanding the world and has learned to recognize appearances for what they are. He has learned to trust his intuition and has attained a level of spiritual awareness that makes unpleasant wake-up calls no longer necessary. As powerful creators, you can state the intention: I choose that my life lessons be easy and gentle. However, never feel you have somehow failed if some are not. Most of you are already evolving from within rather than from without. You have done the heavy lifting but remain timid about being who you have become, afraid to come out and be separate, choosing instead to pretend some stance or belief. The inability to claim and integrate one's power is the result of entertaining the ever-broadcasting three-dimensional message of "you will never be good enough," which causes personal fear and doubt even for those very awake. Everything and everyone is divine consciousness in expression, for in one there simply is no other. Thus claiming one's power simply means living out from the security and confidence of a consciousness that recognizes and accepts its own divine nature. Those empowered by truth never express themselves through boastful or holier-than-thou attitudes, but simply live life from a conscious realization and acceptance of self as self in balance, their masculine speaking, leading, and doing, their feminine intuitive, loving, and creative. Claiming one's innate power never means you can no longer enjoy the company of old friends or engage in activities you have always loved, for everything is spiritual in its purest form. However, many of you are finding that you no longer resonate with many of the things you once enjoyed. Many of you are finding yourselves being guided to speak out on some topic or activity, whereas before you would have remained silent. When this happens, always allow your words to flow on an energy of unconditional love rather than stiffly judging, refusing to do something, or be with certain people out of a misguided sense of superiority. Moving on from some group or activity must always be accompanied by respect for those who may still need the experiences of the particular group or activity. Self-righteousness easily creeps into the thinking of those who believe themselves to be more spiritually aware than others. Those new to truth are especially susceptible to self-righteousness and must realize that everyone is exactly where they are supposed to be. Some souls require more third-dimensional experiences in order to awaken while others do not, and thus comparisons or attempts to bring another to one's own state of awareness is a three-dimensional idea reflecting separation. These dear ones may as of yet be nowhere near ready to hear truth, and this must be honored. It is important not to cast your pearls but keep them lovingly protected within your heart. You can cast seeds of truth by occasionally throwing a sentence or idea into some general conversation which may cause a receptive individual to open and think about what you have said. Unconditional love allows everyone to evolve at their own pace even when the higher solution to their issues and problems is glaringly apparent. Never forget that every person has a higher self, guides, and a pre-birth contract even if they themselves are totally unaware of it. This truth is often overlooked by parents and close friends who desperately seek to help, but may instead be simply getting in the way of the other's lesson. The world as it has always been known is quickly changing as higher dimensional frequencies of light pour in. Everyone on Earth is experiencing these new energies physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, resulting in the need for a trust in truth and understanding that everything is proceeding according to plan. It is a trust that flows from the realization that the chaos of world appearances is formed of old and false energies that have no law to support or to hold them in place. As you grow in the awareness of who and what you are, fears and intense involvements in third-dimensional issues lessens unless you are guided to be involved. Your light is dissolving the false creations of duality and separation, your light workers. You are here at this most powerful time because you choose to be here. Believe it and be. We are the ARCTURIAN group,